Hey guys, I'm Samantha. I'm here to do my 23 in 2023. This is a list of books that I would like to get to in the year of 2023. Now, I don't expect myself really, honestly, to get through all of these books, but these are just ones that have always kind of stuck out to me and that I would like to try to get to in the new year. I am using Allie's from Book Hoarder's spreadsheet to keep track of the ones I have read and haven't read. So I'll be referring down here to my laptop to the covers that I have on the spreadsheets. So let me get started. The first book is Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. This is the second book in the Ninth House series. I'm not too sure how many is expected to be in the series, but it's a dark academia, like magic setting kind of story that I really enjoyed reading when I had read it the first time. So I'm excited to continue the story. This is definitely a dark story, so trigger warnings for sexual abuse, violence, things like that. So if that is not something that you look for in books, I definitely suggest avoiding this one. Book 2 is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I don't know too much about this other than the fact that it is supposed to be like I think a Shakespearean kind of retelling. I think it's also supposed to be like a dark academia as well, so I am excited to get to that one. Book 3, Hocus Pocus and the all-new sequel. I have been putting off reading this book since it came out because I am a purist when it comes to the movies and like stuff that I love. So I was really hesitant about giving this a try. I believe my mom and my sister both have read it and had enjoyed it, so it is making me somewhat hopeful about the future of me of reading this book. So I'm interested in giving that a try. Book 4, The Poppy War by R.F. Kuang. I've heard that this was definitely one of those tough to read trilogies. I definitely want to give it a try. I don't know all too much about it except for that the girl goes to a military school to get away from her toxic family, but other than that, I do not know anything else. Book 5, Will My Cat Eat My Eyeballs? And other questions from kids. I can't read the really tiny print on this one, but it's Caitlin Doherty's, I think it's her latest book. It's where she answers questions that she received from children. I am a big fan of Caitlin Doherty. I follow her YouTube channel, Ask a Mortician. I get all my information, like death-related wise, from her since she is a mortician, and she's really made it where death isn't as scary, for at least for me, considering I had lost a lot of family growing up. I was exposed to death a lot growing up, so it is something that I have come to dread, but with reading her books and watching her YouTube videos, I've come not to be afraid of the thought of death anymore. Book 6, The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. I had read her retelling of Circe, I think it was last year, and had really enjoyed it. Everyone should know by now, if you are a subscriber of this channel, that I'm big into retellings, specifically Greek myth retellings. Words today. So I'm interested in hearing her version of the Song of Achilles, with the Song of Achilles. Book 7 is Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. I actually was one of those kind of I wouldn't say sheltered. I just wasn't really a big into dinosaurs when I was a kid. The most that I would like watch or consume, like pop culture wise, when it came to dinosaurs was Land Before Time and Barney. So anything else like Jurassic Park, I didn't watch those movies until maybe like the last within the like past 10 years, possibly ever since me and Jordan got married. He introduced me into it because it's one of his favorite movie series, so I was interested in giving it a shot, and I wanted to try to give the source material a shot as well, so I have that on my list. If you can hear crying in the background, Mocha has the zoomies and she's wanting everybody to know. Book 8, The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I loved reading The Hunger Games when I was in high school and the movies when they came out. So I am interested in seeing how the prequel holds up. I haven't heard the greatest things about it, to be honest, so I'm kind of nervous, but I also want to give it a shot for myself. Okay, let's see. Can I get my... Number 9, Red, White, and Royal Blue by Casey McQuiston. This is a book that I have had on my TBR for quite a while, and a couple of my friends have been wanting me to read it for the longest time, so I'm hoping that having it on this list will help me. It is a contemporary gay male-male romance between the president's son and the royal family's like prince. So I'm interested in seeing what all the fuss is about with that. Book 10, Gideon the Ninth by Tamsin Muir. I haven't really heard of very many things like what the book itself is about. I believe it's supposed to be a sci-fi, but I've heard a lot of people love this book, so I'm interested in seeing what all the hype is with it. I just am not aware of what the book is supposed to be about. Book 12, Bunny by Mona Awad. I've been trying to like fit this into my TBR for a while. It is another dark academia style book that is supposed to be centered around a girl who goes to, I believe it's a college, and she encounters a group of girls who call each other bunnies, and it's supposed to be a really weird take on like the Mean Girls trope from what I've heard, so I'm really wanting to get into this. Book 13, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I have not read any V.E. Schwab. She's one that I have been wanting to try out. I just haven't managed to fit into my TBR, and I heard that this is supposed to be more like a almost like a time travel, or like following a character throughout a span of time. And I know my friend Kim from Whimsical Narratives has really enjoyed it, and she is a big cheerleader for this book, so I'm sure I'll make her happy once I get to this. Book 14, The Once and Future Witches by Alex E. Harrow. I had read Alex E. Harrow's Fractured Fables series, like the short stories that she has of the Sleeping Beauty retellings. So when I heard that she has this book that is supposed to be witches during the suffrage movement here in the US, my interest was piqued, so I would like to try to fit that in. 15, I believe. I'm losing count next, so I probably will stop counting. Jade City by Fonda Lee. This is, from what I have been told, this almost kind of got like Godfather-esque, set in China, I believe, based around the element or the gem jade. I really don't know much other than it's a trilogy and it's highly acclaimed. Next, Bossy Pants by Tina Fey. I have been trying to get her memoir, like the audiobook of her memoir, into rotation for quite a few years now. After listening to Amy Poehler's memoir, I wanted to give Tina Fey's a shot, and even though like I'm a big fan of Tina Fey from the movie Mean Girls, there's some of the other stuff that I've seen her in I'm not the biggest fan, but of her in general, I want to know more about her, so I want to get to her memoir. Next, I want to continue the Discovery of Witches series with Shadow and Night by Deborah Harkness. Discovery of Witches is a chunky book, and it took me a while to read because I had to wait for my own copy to come in whenever I had to return the library book copy, but I am wanting to continue that series with the second book, and I think there's 3 or 4 in that series. I could be mistaken, but I definitely want to continue. Next is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. This has been all over BookTube recently, so I probably don't need much to explain much about it, other than it's a sci-fi, if I'm mistaken. Just take everything I say with a grain of salt. Honestly, I'm terrible about remembering synopsis, so I want to read those. I want to finally get to the second book in the duology for Warcross, which is Wildcard by Marie Lu. I gave Warcross 5 stars when I had listened to it on audiobook, so I really want to get the second and last book in that completed. It's been way too long since in between the two, so hopefully I can remember what happened in Warcross, but I definitely want to get to Wildcard. Fortuna Sworn by KJ Sutton. This is a fantasy, dark fantasy romance that Becca from Becca in the Books and Ashley with Frolic Through Fiction rave about all the time, so I want to try that out. And I've been getting more into fantasy romance within the last couple of years. Actually, I have one here because of this book, this behemoth of a book. I've been getting into that genre a lot more. As Mocha goes to investigate the other book. And speaking of Ashley through Frolic Through Fiction, because of her, I also want to pick up The Bone Season by Samantha Shannon. She is a big cheerleader for Samantha Shannon's book, so I definitely want to try out The Bone Season. I would like to get to A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I've read one Naomi Novik book so far, and that was Spinning Silver, the retelling of Rumpelstiltskin, and I'm going to try to attempt to read Uprooted for the month of January for Tarot TBR, so we will see how I feel about it. And I've heard that Deadly Education is another dark academia. Apparently, I am in a dark academia mindset for the year, so we'll see how long that lasts. Second to last book, Malice by John Gwynne. This is an epic fantasy that I've heard covers with Cassidy rave about. She ate the book up, and I'm not sure if she completed the series yet or not, but because of her praise of it, I wanted to get into reading that. And the last book I have is Iron Widow by Zirin J. Zhao. I have an e-arc of this from NetGalley, and I have not yet read it. So that's another goal of mine, is just to get through my NetGalley arcs for this year, so we'll see how that goes. But those are the 23 books in 2023 that I would like to get through. Leave me a comment down below if any of these books you would recommend, and let me know which book you want me to start with out of this. And if you just want to leave a comment to show that you were here, leave a book stack emoji and like this video if you enjoyed it, and stay up to date with videos coming out in the future. Hit the subscribe button, and until next time, you guys.